What if the story you think you already know still holds a truth that could change how you see God forever? What if the most famous parable Jesus ever told isn't really about rebellion, but about a love that refuses to give up? What if the way heaven sees failure is completely different from how we see it on earth? In Luke chapter 15, verses 11 to 32, Jesus tells the parable often called the Prodigal Son. It is one of the most familiar stories in the Bible, yet its depth is easy to miss because of its familiarity. Beneath the surface of inheritance, departure, and return lies a revelation of God's heart that is as unsettling as it is comforting. The story begins with a father and his two sons. The younger son does something shocking. He asks for his share of the inheritance while his father is still alive. In the culture of Jesus' time, this was more than disrespectful. It was equivalent to saying, "I wish you were dead." Yet the father does not argue. He does not punish. He divides his property and gives the younger son what he asks for. This moment alone reveals something important. God allows freedom, even when that freedom will lead to pain. Love that is forced is not love. The father does not stop the son from leaving, even though he knows what lies ahead. The younger son gathers everything he has and travels to a distant country. There, he wastes his wealth on reckless living. Jesus does not linger on the details. The focus is not on the sin itself, but on where it leads. When the money is gone, a severe famine strikes. Suddenly, the freedom the son desired becomes emptiness. He finds himself feeding pigs, an unthinkable job for a Jewish man. He is so hungry that he longs to eat the food given to the animals. No one gives him anything. This is the true cost of separation. Not just poverty, but isolation. Not just hunger, but abandonment. At this lowest point, Jesus says something subtle yet powerful. The son comes to his senses. Repentance begins not with fear of punishment, but with clarity. He remembers his father's house. Even the hired servants there have enough to eat. The son prepares a speech. He plans to confess his sin and ask to be treated not as a son, but as a servant. This shows his brokenness, but also his misunderstanding. He believes he must earn his way back. He believes his identity has been permanently lost. What happens next is the heart of the parable. While the son is still a long way off, the father sees him. This means the father was watching, waiting, hoping. He does not wait for the son to reach the door. He runs to him. In that culture, a dignified elder would never run. Yet the father runs, embraces his son, and kisses him. The son begins his prepared confession, but before he can finish, the father interrupts. He does not allow the son to reduce himself to a servant. Instead, he restores him fully. A robe is placed on his shoulders, a ring on his finger, sandals on his feet. These are symbols of sonship, authority, and belonging. Then comes the feast. Music, celebration, joy. This son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. This is not a reluctant forgiveness. This is extravagant grace. But the story does not end there. The older son hears the music and becomes angry. He refuses to enter the celebration. When the father goes out to him, the older son reveals his heart. He speaks of years of obedience, hard work, and loyalty, yet says he was never given such a celebration. He refers to his brother not as my brother, but this son of yours. The older son represents those who stay physically close to God, but whose hearts are distant. He obeys, but without joy. He serves, but without intimacy. His anger reveals that he too is lost, though in a different way. The father responds with tenderness. "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours." The problem was never a lack of reward, but a lack of relationship. The older son lived in the house, but did not live in the father's heart. Jesus ends the parable without resolution. We never learn whether the older son enters the celebration. This is intentional. Jesus is inviting the listener to decide. Will you rejoice when grace is given freely, or will you stand outside, holding on to resentment? This parable reveals that there are two ways to be lost, one through rebellion and one through self-righteousness, one by leaving home and one by refusing love. At its core, the story is not about the sons, it is about the father. A father who gives freedom, a father who waits, a father who runs, a father who restores, a father who goes out to both the broken and the bitter. This is how Jesus wants us to see God. The younger son teaches us that no failure is final. No distance is too far. When repentance begins, restoration is already moving toward us. God does not meet us with a list of accusations, but with open arms. The older son warns us that proximity to religious activity does not guarantee closeness to God. We can do the right things and still miss the heart of grace. For those who feel they have gone too far, this parable speaks hope. You are not forgotten. The Father sees you while you are still far off. For those who feel overlooked despite faithfulness, this parable offers correction. God's love is not diminished when it is shared. Grace is not a reward to be earned, but a gift to be celebrated. Luke 15 shows us heaven's values. The lost matter, the return matters, and joy is the proper response to grace. The parable of the prodigal son invites every listener to come home, whether we wandered away long ago or never realized how distant our hearts had become. As you reflect on this story, consider where you see yourself, and more importantly, consider how God is moving toward you even now. Thank you for watching this video. If this message helped you see God's grace more clearly, please like the video, follow Holy Path Insights for more biblical reflections, and share this message with someone who may need hope today. May peace guide you as you continue on your path.